Hello, this is Coach Xander Titan. Today we are going to be reviewing a game about delicious desserts called pie. Now let's get into it.
To set up pies, you will first divide the cards up into these three piles. So we got the round 1 deck, the round 2 deck, the round 3 deck, and a pile of plum cards. You will also take cards out depending on the player count. So we're setting up for a 4-player game, so the number 25 would be taken out of each deck. So when we deal out cards, there'll be even cards. There'll be 6 for each player each round. Then you will get the dog out, which this is the deluxe piece. The dog for the base game is just a card, and then you would get the pie tokens. These are nice wood chunky ones. Those are also deluxe. The base game comes with cardboard pie pieces, and then you get the order markers. There's actually 5 of them because you can play up to 5 players. I'm setting up for a 4-player game, so you would flip the 4 over with the plum side versus this side. Now, if you're playing 3-player, you would have the 3 flipped over, and you wouldn't have the 4. Or if you had the 5-player, you would actually have that flipped over for 5 players, and this would be flipped over to the regular side. So once you have things set up, you would figure out who was the last person to eat a slice of pie, and they would go first. And then you would shuffle the round 1 deck and deal them out evenly, and you would set these aside. Once you have the cards dealt out, the first player would play a card. There is just number cards. There are no suits. The first player might decide to play this 20. And then the next player might choose to play this 1 card. Then the next player might choose to do this 23. And then the last player might choose to play this 8. Once each player has played a card, you'll figure out who won the round, and you will place the 1 next to their card. And then second place, you will put the 2. Then you would put the 3 next to the third place, and then fourth place would go next to the lowest card. Now, this determines order of picking these cards. So you're taking these cards to try to collect sets and get points. So for instance, this one here, if you had 3 different fruit cards, you can make a pie for 6 points if you had this card in front of you. This one here lets you take these pie tokens. So if you took these pie tokens on a later round when you're placing a card out, you could say put these pie tokens within it. It would add 3.14, and you can add as many as you want to make your card higher. So maybe you win the trick. So that is the pie or the pie tokens. This one here would let you steal a card from somebody else's tableau, and then this one here gives you the dog token, which then you would put the dog in front of you, and then no one can steal from you until somebody steals the dog from you. So the first player, let's just say they decide, I'm gonna just take the dog, so they don't get cards stolen from. So they would put the dog in front of them, and it does like to fall over. And then the next player would be this one. They say, you know what, I'm just going to go with the pies, and they would do this. And then the next player might say, you know what, they'll just steal it from me, so I'm going to take the steal card, and and then I could steal from this person because I could not steal from the dog person. So then I would do that, and the last player would get the 1, which is a point card, but they also, because they are last, they would also get a plum card, which they can use towards making their pies. So they already have 2 fruits, so they just need a 3rd fruit, and they could complete that card to score points at the end of the game. So you would continue playing cards until everyone runs out of cards, and anytime you complete a pie condition, you would score that card and discard the rest of the cards. And there's other ones, like this is 2 of the same fruit, and then as you move or progress through the rounds, they get even harder to do. This is 5 different fruits, but it's worth more points. We got, let's see, here's 3 of the same fruit and then 2 of the same fruit. It's worth 12 points. So then as you move on to the 3rd round, they even get a little harder. So this one is 2 of 3 different kinds of fruit, and that's worth 15 points. And once you've played all 3 rounds, you would tally up the points based on the different pie cards that you have completed, and whoever has the most points wins the game. And that is how you play pies.
What I like about pies is, number one, I think the art is pretty good, but one thing that makes the art a little meh is that there's not much to show for it. Like, it's on the cards, and it's on the cover, and sure, maybe on the dog and the pies, but there's not a lot of other room to show it. Like, maybe you're on a picnic with a picnic basket, and you have a nice big pie to eat. Like, there's nothing like that that it adds to the game. Another thing is, I don't really like the theme that much, because it has no story. It's just kind of, you're baking pies, which is, it's pretty basic and it's pretty bland, but to people that may not like board games a lot, maybe it can be enticing to play a game that has a juicy pie in the front, for sure. Another thing I like is, I got this with the Kickstarter, so the Kickstarter components are super nice. It adds, instead of the card for the dog, it's a wooden piece, it's like a miniature, or I guess a bigerature, because it's like that tall or something like that. So it's pretty cool. And then there's the wooden pie tokens, and you don't even know, it just adds a whole different dimension to the game. It's like hearing the pie pieces fall on the other ones is just so satisfying. Picking them up is so much easier. It's just graceful. Another thing that I like is how the dog, I just like the dog in general, how when you have it, it shields you from other people stealing from you, especially like if you have a nice big juicy card that other people definitely want because they want to complete things. Then if you protect that, it's just like, it adds a whole new variable to the game that just would be needed if it didn't have that, which is really cool. Another thing I like is, of course, the pies. The pies is the other kind of creative thing that put into the game. That, say, like, you just get a horrible draw. You have, like, all 1s and 2s, like, and then you get a card with a pie. Or you gain 3 pies, and that just boosts your score from, like, 3 or whatever to, like, 9. It adds by 9 point, whatever that decimal is, because it adds by pi. And I just think that's really cool. It just gives you other options with the dog and the pie if you're kind of getting beaten up. Another thing, I like the set collection and the trick taking in this game. It's almost like if set collection and trick taking had a baby. Because it adds that little, like, okay, that trick taking, like this, you pass out cards and you do tricks, and there's like the bigger number is trump, like there's that whole variable, but there's also a variable of like collecting certain sets, like you need to get 3 of the same fruit. And I really like set collection and trick taking, so this is a perfect game for me, you could say. One thing I don't like, though, that maybe a little controversial, and I know there's probably things that you could say that can make me sway the other way, but when you play a trick and you win it, you can grab your own card. I don't necessarily like that, because it just like, oh, there's no hope. I can't get that card because they're probably going to pick up the card, especially if it's like a 20. And it just feels like in 9 lives you can, if you win the trick, you can pick anything but the card that you grabbed, which is better in my opinion. Maybe I have a bias because I've played both games, but that's just my opinion. And Codes Nanotype, do you like pies? I do like pies, not just because it's a dessert, but it's a pretty fun game. Not my favorite, not my least favorite. It's probably in the middle of games I really like and the games I really don't like. So yeah, outro. If you like this video, please smash the subscribe button, smash the like button, smash the notification bell. If you want to get notifications when I do long form videos like this one, short form videos, or even live streams, those are super fun. Please check them out. Also, check out my link tree where I have links to my YouTube, of course, and my Facebook and Instagram, where you can see photos and maybe even videos of all the behind the scenes stuff, reminders of when my live streams will happen, and much, much more. Another thing that you can see is my merch store. If you want some really comfortable hoodies and shirts, there's a link down below in my tree, so please check it out. Said that twice. And another thing is my Dice Tower playlist, where you can see all my appearances on the Dice Tower, or on Board Game Breakfast. And alright, I really hope you love this delicious review.